All right, we are 2 hours away from 2024. And for us pro wrestling fans, this may be the last couple of hours for Seth Rollins and his World Heavyweight Championship reign. Will Drew McIntyre defeat Seth Rollins at day one? I think so. Then again, maybe not. What's up, everybody? It is December 31st. I had to think for a second which day of the week it was. It's Sunday, December 31st, 2023. Welcome to this sit-down countdown. It won't be a letdown to 2024. I am Don Tony, and, before we go any further, I got to thank each and every one of you for a really, really fun 2023. I'm really looking forward to 2024, and this is a wrestling-themed podcast, so a majority of the talk is wrestling-related, so we kind of stay on the wrestling aspect of discussion. We could talk about other stuff. It's not off the table, but as far as a wrestling fan goes, man, is 2024 going to be an interesting year. Where will Raw end up in October of 2024? Something that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. We had a pretty deep conversation this past Tuesday on Patreon. And, the most amazing thing about it is somebody finally asked Tony Khan sort of the question, and it's something I brought up for quite some time now. Why is AEW not negotiating with other networks? Why are they not already negotiating other networks? You think about the fact that we had the upfronts months ago. You had TV deals being done, not just for SmackDown, but for a whole bunch of programming out there. As of now, AEW is not negotiating with anyone else. Maybe Fight TV at the most. They're not discussing it with Amazon. They're not discussing it with Showtime. They're not discussing it. Well, Disney absolutely is not going to take them. They're not having negotiations because Tony is at the mercy of Warner Media. And it kind of, I've used this analogy before. It's kind of like a guy that is not the most attractive person in the world and asks like a beautiful girl to the prom. And the girl has a lot of options, and she is probably going to be queen of her class. And she's like, let me think about it a little bit. But meanwhile, she's trying to get the king, the head of the football team, to be her date for the prom. Let's pretend she is Warner Media and the head of the football team is WWE. And meanwhile, this guy, you kind of feel bad for him. And instead of maybe settling and, looking at others, and maybe you get the girl jealous. Maybe if Warner Media heard, wow, AEW, they're talking to Amazon. They're talking to this. They're talking to that. Maybe we got to snatch these guys up. Maybe 2024, will be a nice up year for them. But when Warner Media knows they got Tony by the balls, they could wait and wait. And if that head of the football team decides to take her to the prom, well, guess what? This guy may have to scramble and settle for a paid escort to pretend that he's got a date for the prom. Why is AEW not negotiating right now? The fuck are they waiting? You think these networks are going to wait until June, April, to set up for October? This is why the conversation that we had yesterday about Sasha Banks and her recent discussions with WWE, they did not fall apart. They are very complicated. And she wants a lot of her brand outside of WWE. And WWE is not ready to make that commitment. Meanwhile, a couple of weeks away is the Royal Rumble. Then you have Elimination Chamber. Then you have the full-blown road to WrestleMania. And they're not going to be able to say, you know what, let me call my attorney. Let's draft up the papers. And 2 days later, a week later, boom, okay, you got your brand. They're going to have to draft up this many extra papers if they give Mercedes Moné what she wants. Talks did not fall apart. They're just extremely complicated. Adding this brand makes it extremely complicated. And it's too close to the Royal Rumble. If they can't act on a deal right now, that's it. We gotta figure out who's gonna win the Rumble. We gotta figure out who's gonna take on Rhea Ripley or Io Sky or whoever else is the women's champion at WrestleMania 40. We can't just hold off and make a split second. That's not how WWE operates. So, how we got on that right off the bat, I don't know. But listen, the last couple of years, we've been here on New Year's Eve. And for the last couple of years, we were simulcasting, showing fireworks from different countries, showing Times Square. And one thing that we learned right off the bat is, number one, most of these live streams that show fireworks around the world are not really live. They're just loop over and over and over again. And then you realize, Australia probably already celebrated New Year's. And why are we seeing the countdown again? It's all looped. And we've also learned that I love New York, been here my whole life. But on New Year's Eve, they will fucking hire any performers in the city. I mean, I tuned it in early. I'm like, let me give this a shot. And I'm looking at them. And I'm like, there's people trying to breakdance, pretending like it's 1983. And this is like the breakdancing version of Elaine Bennis. When people, up-rocked in the early 80s, and they were doing all their shit. And trust me, this Fat Guido used to try to breakdance in the 80s as well. You didn't stop, and you didn't pose, and you didn't do animations like, they look like fucking mimes from the ghetto. Like mimes from the ghetto. No, thank you. We're not going to do that tonight. The only thing that we're going to do is right before midnight. That's too small. That's a little better. Right before midnight, we'll show the ball drop. And if I finish early enough, no. No, we ain't going to go there. Did you hear this rumor that there's like 1 million people or 100,000 people in New York that are planning to all urinate in the street at the stroke of midnight? Oh, trust me, if that happens, I will blow that son of a bitch up and we'll put it on the screen. Just think, we're going to watch a whole bunch of people peeing out of protest. Pee for protest. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do this episode in the sit-down format. If anyone out there that doesn't know what the sit-down format is, every Sunday night for quite some time now, I basically show up with nothing. Everybody who is live chooses what we talk about. You just got to be in the chat room if you want to be part of, choosing what we talk about. And of course, we give a little VIP treatment for our super chatters out there. They help fund what we do over here. And, I would be very, very wrong if I didn't bring this up right off the bat. I'm sure by now a lot of you are aware of it, but Kev Castle and yours truly are returning to Monday nights. Our first official Monday night episode will be January 29th, 2024. We are going to do an episode before that, probably Royal Rumble predictions, but Kev and I will be returning to Monday nights, and these are going to be old school DTKC show episodes. We're going to piss off a lot of people. We're also going to run 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 hours if needed. But with that return comes a little bit of sacrifice, and some of the shows that I normally do during the week will be going away. Wednesdays are pretty much going to be gone. On occasion, we'll still do Q&As, and now with Kev involved, that'll be extra fun. The only thing that I think we have to figure out in the next couple of weeks is, what do we do about the sit-down episode? Do you still want it on Sundays? Do you want it on Saturdays? You maybe want it Saturday afternoon instead of Saturday morning or Saturday night. I want to figure out, because that episode lately I've been getting the most positive feedback from, because a lot of news and discussion we'll be able to cover on Monday nights. So we'll listen, that's another reason why we're not starting until the 29th of January, to give everybody a couple of weeks to, get familiar, gives us some time to set everything up, because once we start this, we're trying to get back our crown. I mean, we got some stiff competition out there. We got some legends. We have some Hall of Famers. We have some legitimate, contenders out there. Trust me, 5 years ago, Conrad was not around. 5 years ago, Jim Cornette was still doing his thing, but not on the level it is now. And believe me when I tell you, look, I used to be a big Cornette hater. Now I appreciate what he does. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I absolutely appreciate, listen, that guy, and I say this with love, is fucking Rain Man. He is Rain Man. He's the wrestling version of Rain Man. I can't understand it, like, unless this is all rehearsed before it's recorded. Like Brian Lance will say, oh, do you remember like June 17th, 1983, what you were doing? Oh, yeah, I was with the Midnight Express and we did this and we went on the road and I actually caught a flat tire that day. And then I kind of remember when we went to a steakhouse. Like, this guy, even if you don't like Cornette, this is probably the best compliment I could give from me. That guy has books and journals and diaries of everything that he did going back to his photography days. That is not a person with a lot of too much free time. That is not a nerd. That is not weird territory. That's someone who not only loved pro wrestling and loved doing what he was doing, but he wanted to document it, save it, cherish it, and then revisit those times in latter years. I guess for us, we did the podcast version of that. Did anybody in their right mind that goes back to with me in the early 2000s, did you ever think we would get what we get online right now, where everybody has a goddamn podcast, where everybody just some people will just grab their iPhone and record and they got a podcast? In 2000 and not even 2002, in 2001, myself, Matt Zombie, and Brian Damage, we said, we're doing a wrestling hotline. Let's put it online. Let's have the world check it out. And I truthfully believe one day when I get some extra cash, I'm going to pursue Guinness. And I'm dead serious when I say this. I am going to pursue Guinness to be in the first podcast ever online. Because if you go to Wayback Machine and you type in my website, wrestling-news.com or wrestleguide.com, which is what it was in the late 90s, you will see as early as late 2001, our shows online. So did I ever think recording all of that shit back then would end up being like unbelievable, beautiful? This is like the podcast version of what Jim Cornette did back with his books. And I can't help but appreciate someone who put that much time and effort into it. So I don't agree with him in all of his political views. Some of it is whack, but I can't help but to respect that much love for pro wrestling. Seriously. That still doesn't mean Kevin Castle. Jim, Kevin and I are coming for your ass. So no, I say that with love. Listen, do I think that Kevin and I will be able to overtake him? No, it's not going to happen. But if we could get back in the top 10, then that will be a beautiful thing, because you see all the other big time shows out there. And the only way we do that is either bribing all you motherfuckers out there, which we don't unfortunately have that kind of money, or we just work hard and we just do what we know we can do. And I'm really excited to be doing shows with him again. It's going to be fun. And I hope you all enjoy the ride. Sure, how we do it is going to be a little bit different than what I've been doing on Mondays. But in the end, it's going to benefit everybody. So, and who knows, guys, if it blows up and we can make some serious coin, then maybe that ends up being Kevin and I's full-time gig. Never thought it ever would be. I don't think it ever will be. But, who knows where it can go. But, all right, so enough of me ranting. We still got like an hour and 43 minutes until midnight. In fact, what I will do is let me put a little clock. Let me put a clock in this corner over here. So did this clock pop up? Nope. That fucked it up. That's not good. That's not good. Hold on. Let me see what I did over here. Oh, shit. Did I just fuck things up? I think wait. I don't know what I just did over here. I just fucked something up. Hold on a second. What the hell did I do? That's not good. Wait. Okay, I think I figured it out. All right, I definitely didn't figure that out. Hold on. What the hell did I do over here? For some reason, my graphic just kind of like disappeared. That's strange. Where's my, wait. I see what I did. Hold on a second. I sincerely apologize, everyone. Okay, I figured it out. This definitely will fix it. There we go. Yeah, that'll fix it. What happened was I hit the wrong setting and it was changing. There you go. Watch. Here's the clock. I think that's the clock. Oh, fuck the clock. No, actually, no, we don't have to fuck the clock. Hold on a second. On audio only, I'll be editing this out, but it's all good. I figured it out. It's definitely this, and I hit this. There we go, and it's out of whack. That's all right. We'll put this over here. There you go. All right. Little technical difficulties. My apologies, everyone. My face now looks like a basketball for some reason. Some settings got all out of whack, but that's all good. Let me see if I can fix this. You know what it is? It went off center. That's why. All right. We're in business. So we're still an hour and 40 minutes away from midnight. So we're going to talk some wrestling, look back a little bit at 2023, what we think is going to happen in 2024. I'm sure we'll have a little discussion about last night's AEW. I don't know what was up with Tony Khan wearing. It was kind of funny because I got a DM last night like DT's wearing a fucking afro. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Because anybody's been following my shows for the last couple of weeks, I keep saying Tony Khan and his afro. And then he puts on a wig yesterday and people are like, holy shit, he has an afro on. And I'm like, no, it can't be. He had an afro on. Look, I watched a decent amount of AEW World's End. If you checked out my predictions yesterday, we nailed almost everything. If I would have known that was Andrade's last match in AEW, I would have chose Miro instead. But pretty much everything that we predicted happened. Even that weird take that I took about Killswitch winning the Rumble, the Battle Royale, and then Christian Cage insisting that he take his title shot and Copeland wins and then Christian wins it right after. So, it didn't get much love on social media because social media don't like to give acknowledgement and love to other people. Why would somebody want to give me credit? That's basically saying like, hey, you predicted it better than I did. Oh, let me give you props for that. No, they're like, fuck you, dick. Get it wrong and I'll show you some love. Adam Cole being revealed as the devil. At the end of the day, it's the right decision. At the end of the day, it makes the most sense for the storyline. As much as I would have loved Tony Khan to be revealed as the devil, remember, there's nobody higher than him in AEW. It was different with the NWO invasion because Eric Bischoff was the executive producer. He did not own WCW. It was Turner that owned WCW. So even though Bischoff tried to turn WCW into NWO, it was still owned by somebody else. Tony Khan, if he becomes the devil, there's nobody else higher up that could have signed MJF to a contract extension into 2024. That was the only hurdle that we had. If Tony Khan wanted to force MJF out of AEW, it's a great storyline. And it would make MJF an even bigger babyface if he decided to stay because of it. Unless they did something cheesy where MJF reveals that he resigned a long time ago and Tony Khan can't do nothing about it. Then it's like, well, whatever happened at World's End wouldn't have mattered because he was staying anyway. You want to give this impression that MJF is re-signing with AEW so he could fight all those bastards that turned on him. So Adam Cole, maybe because of, listen, for people that thought that the reveal was lackluster yesterday, there's one reason for it. This storyline went too long. It went too long. You know, I brought it up a week or two ago that this storyline's been going on since the summer. If this would have been a month, maybe 6 weeks at the most, okay. But it got so old. And now, how stupid will it look Wednesday when Jay White doesn't do a fucking thing about it? He got attacked by these guys. If Jay White doesn't try to take out, at minimum, Roderick Strong, the Kingdom, if everybody who they attack does nothing, it already shows the dumbness of this story. It went way too long. But at the end of the day, Adam Cole is the right choice, obviously. And we see where it goes in 2024. Listen, as I said before, I expect MJF to align with Jay White. MJF is going to align with people that he does not like because them together will take down these guys. That's where this will go from here. But World's End was a mixed bag yesterday. Definitely a mixed bag. I saw a couple of super chats that came in before we went live, and one of them has to do with the media scrum, and it's an interesting question because it has to do with Jericho, and I'm going to answer it in a few moments. I thought Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, I probably enjoyed the most out of it, and even though we predicted exactly what was going to happen in that match, and even though this feud has been a little bit lacking, and I feel this Shayna Wayne and Nick Wayne is just overkill and unnecessary, one thing that we said yesterday in the predictions, and I think everybody will agree with me now after seeing that match, said Edge and Christian, they're best friends. When you get to work with your best friend, you're going to amp it up tenfold. This isn't him just working with someone for the betterment of AEW or because they're just getting paid for it. You get to work with your friend. You want to put in 1,000%. As crappy as the stuff that I did back in the day here in the Northeast with my managing stuff and some of the wrestle crap you've seen me involved in, I've always said it. The most fun that I had was doing stuff with my friends. It made it special. It made it personal. It had an extra feeling about it. So Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, it came across the screen yesterday that they were really putting it all out there because of their friendship, because they love wrestling as much as they do. Keith Lee, I don't know what you do with him at this point. He's just broke. And I don't mean that in a financial way. He revealed on social media yesterday he's been dealing with an injury since 2022, and he wasn't medically cleared, so Swerve Strickland took on Dustin Reynolds instead, and I'm not against Dustin Reynolds. He's a Hall of Famer. But, like, that was not a typo. This motherfucker got injured at Arthur Ashe Stadium here in New York in 2022. We're approaching 2024. Like, why you put a Band-Aid on this AEW for over a year? So I honestly don't know what you do with Keith Lee at this point. I mean, you know what's sad about it? He's giving me Junkyard Dog vibes. If anybody, listen, I'm sure most of you out there are not as old as me that did not experience the Junkyard Dog in the late 80s. But the Junkyard Dog in the latter years of his wrestling career, he started letting his body go. He, ate too much, used, substances too much, partied too much, didn't put a lot of effort in his wrestling work very much. And the final years of his pro wrestling career were not very good. For some reason, Vice thought that was a spectacular Dark Side of the Ring episode, and it wasn't. It was one of their shittiest episodes because Junkyard Dog was beloved. And people do have some issues and deteriorate. And he died in a fucking car accident falling asleep. It's a terrible accident. But if he didn't die from the car accident, this is just a guy who had a great career and blew it too early because he got fat and was using shit, but he was having a good time, getting laid and doing everything that he does. That's not Dark Side of the Ring. But Keith Lee is turning into Junkyard Dog without the substances. Like, the only substances Keith Lee uses right now is probably salt, pepper, and garlic powder on his food. It's like he doesn't do, as far as I know, the outside stuff. But at Keith Lee at this point, Keith Lee was my favorite wrestler in NXT. And to see what he's at now, I just want this man to live past 50. And he just does not look healthy. This is not trashing AEW. I'm tired of the morons on social media that whenever you criticize something AEW related, it's because you want to see their demise. I don't want to see their fucking demise. There's a lot of people that I like there, some that I know personally, that I want to see them break the bank. I like the alternative. I like other options out there, but Keith Lee, it kind of saddens me to see what he has turned into. And we cannot forget how serious his illness was, with his chest. That's not something that just miraculously goes away. Even if Keith Lee went to see the voodoo doctors that Bryan Danielson went to, doesn't miraculously go away. If anything, Keith Lee would be more like Andy Kaufman. When Andy Kaufman went to a different country and thought he was going to have these voodoo doctors cure him. And we saw Man on the Moon. That was kind of exaggerated, but Man on the Moon, he thought he was, and they're like dipping into, and he thinks they're ripping out the diseases and everything. But meanwhile, they're sticking their hands in a bucket, pulling out like sausage. And Andy Kaufman at that point, he's like, man, did I just fuck myself up? But I'm going to die anyway, so the money's not going to matter. The Junkyard, yes, I agree, TBS. Junkyard Dog episode was abysmal. My problem with Vice is that I understand they got to fill a season, but they forced episodes and tried to turn people into dumpster fires that really had no business being a Dark Side of the Ring episode. And then they try to rehash some things that have been done 50,000 times. I can't wait for The Rock to put out this demise of WCW and, all this unspoken stuff. It's going to be, honestly, if you think of Young Rock and how ridiculously bad some of the characters were portrayed, this is going to be the Young Rock version of Vice, what The Rock puts out about WCW. It's not brain surgery. We know why WCW went out of business. They were losing tens of millions of dollars, and AOL Time Warner merged. And then they looked at the books and they're like, the fuck are we keeping these companies around for? Well, you see, the funny thing is, if you ever watched the Monday Night War documentary, I brought this up before. One of the moments that I remember vividly was Diamond Dallas Page, when Warner decided to, Turner decided to take wrestling off of their network. And I remember Diamond Dallas Page on this documentary going, but this is your number one show. Now, I love Diamond Dallas Page, but now, knowing what I know now, Diamond Dallas Page in 2001, he probably was not aware of the books. So even though it was the number one show, it was losing tens of millions of dollars. That is why AEW will never become a publicly traded company. That's why AEW will never merge with anybody other than another billionaire wrestling mark. Because if any publicly traded company were to want to buy AEW or even invest in AEW, they want to see the books. We've had this conversation before. They want to see, are they making money? And when they say, oh, but it's one of the number one shows on Warner Media, and then you realize, yeah, you're pissing away $50 million a year just to be number one. Shit, I could go on fucking, YouTubeindia.com and pay $10,000 a week. And hey, everybody, I got 1 million views on my shows. You ever notice any YouTube channels out there in wrestling that have like 80,000 subscribers and they got 300 views? You think that something may not be kosher over here? So yeah, of course, I could make myself the number one show on YouTube and piss away millions of dollars doing it and making nothing. So that's why when we opened up this show and I said, I don't understand why Tony Khan is not negotiating with other networks. If Warner Brothers Discovery inks a deal with WWE, then they got to scramble. And I think one of two things happens. Either AEW ends up on Fight or AEW does their own subscription service. And people may have to pay money, and that would be disastrous. Or they would have to go to a bullshit network. So I'm a little shocked right now that we do not hear AEW meeting with Amazon, meeting with other outlets out there, meeting with other networks, USA, Fox, whatever, that they're not meeting with anyone. Because what happens if WWE signs with Warner Brothers Discovery? I mean, the idea that morons tried to convince you that WWE and AEW could both be on Warner Brothers Discovery. Watch all the investors of TKO Group Holdings. Let's watch what they do with their money. When they realize that a competitor could be taking away viewers and revenue because there's another wrestling company on the same network, you watch how quick they pull their money. And when it drops down to $60 a share, you see WWE release another 50 people, and people will go, oh, why are they releasing all these people? All right. I think I've rambled enough. We're at 10:34 p.m. Let's go into full-blown sit-down mode right now. So we are going to start some convo. I will first acknowledge some super shout-outs that came in during the show. And then I will go to the chat room and we will talk about whatever is on your mind. Now, as far as tonight's live stream, I believe it'll go until 12:30 in the morning. Obviously, the whole idea is to be here until midnight, and then we'll say Happy New Year and, it's all sob for a little bit, and then 12:30 we'll go off the air. All right. Let's get into a couple of super shout-outs before we go any further. Big shout-out to Matt. Happy New Year, DT. Hope you and your family have a great 2024. Thank you very much, Matt. I'm looking forward to 2024. As a wrestling fan, we got so much good shit going on. It's going to be really interesting to see how WWE handles the post-Roman Reigns undisputed WWE Universal Championship reign. It's going to be interesting to see when they split those tag titles back to Raw and SmackDown. It's going to be interesting to see where Raw ends up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with AEW and their TV. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody leaves AEW and goes to WWE, who from WWE goes to AEW, who else gets released, who gets signed. Does Sasha Banks return to the WWE in 2024, which I still believe will happen. And we didn't even talk about Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling supposedly signed somebody big. And do not discount the possibility that it's Mercedes Moné. It's not a long-term deal, but if they give her a decent amount of money and she gets to have her brand as well, she could make a lot of coins. She may make more money outside of wrestling than in it. See, that's the reason why her brand is so important to her, because she could legitimately make more money off her brand than her contract in wrestling. Be hard to do. It would take some time. But the idea of having your own brand is to obviously make money. But thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to 1-4 Podcast. Always gives me shit in the chat room, but I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, we do have the chat room in the background. I'll put it on the screen in a little bit. I know that the font is a little bit small, but, big shout out to everybody who's here live right now. Raul Havers, happy 5-month anniversary. I will definitely answer your Kevin Dunn question in a couple of moments. I did see that he is leaving WWE, and my answer will probably be a little bit different than others. Am I happy to see him go? Yes. But my answer will be a little bit more down to earth. 1-4. Happy New Year, Don Tony from Mexico. I had no idea you were from Mexico. I'm somewhat sad because I don't hear you live again now with the return of Kevin Castle. Heel, I need this interaction. I think you meant hell, I need this interaction. Anyway, for the second year, I'm working in the new year. Blessings. Okay. Make that money tonight, my friend. Thank you very much for the 100 spot, my friend. I want to tell you right off the bat, you will absolutely still be able to tune into Kevin I Live. The only thing that's changing is we're doing it on Discord. Discord has a chat room. I'm paying someone right now to spice up our chat room so it's a little bit, animated. Gives you a little bit more creativity. You could also post pictures. You could post a little video clip. You can get a little vulgar there. We're going to keep it under control, but, you'll still be able to tune in live Mondays and you'll still be able to interact with us. That goes for anybody out there. It's just we are going to be on Discord. And believe me, like I just said about videos and pictures, it's probably going to be even more fun because people like to post their little cute GIF animated files, while we're talking about something. If I bring up something from yesteryear, somebody will probably Google search it and post a picture there. So believe me, when we used to do it on Mixlr, it got a little bit out of control because we couldn't have moderators. And that was one of the problems with Mixlr right now. I set up a new account for Mixlr and I canceled it because I realized you can't have moderators. So anybody that moderates now, OTS Tribal Queen or anyone else, if anybody still wants to do it, you still got your powers. And everybody will have an opportunity to still tune in live. So that is not going away. Definitely just keep looking because in the next week, we'll post the Discord link. You'll be able to set up. You can even test it out, make sure it works. And all you do on Mondays is you click Discord's link instead of YouTube's link. That's really the only thing that changes, my friend. Thank you again for that. 1-4. Ronnie C. with the 20 spot. Happy New Year. What's your thoughts on Kate from Fightful? Oh, God. She always virtue signals about sexual harassment, but Saturday on the AEW Media Scrum, Instead of confronting Tony Khan about Chris Jericho, she compliments Tony Khan about an amazing event. Total fraud. All right. He posted this before we went live, so I had a few moments to think about this, and I knew I was going to have to answer this question here. I'm going to, listen, some people say DT, you're a little bit too politically correct. Yeah, I definitely am a little bit more careful what I say in 2023. I will also tell you that there ain't nobody out there that I'm intimidated with that I ain't going to open up my mouth if I feel a certain way. Doesn't matter who it is, all right? But as far as this is concerned, what I saw from the media scrum from yesterday is that you had a room full of journalists and everybody played softball and nobody confronted about the accusations with Jericho and everything else. Okay. As far as Kate goes, I don't know her personally. I am friends with somebody that's a mutual friend with her. I will tell you that she has definitely been text message. Thank you, whoever interrupted me. Thank you, whoever interrupted me. Oh, Happy New Year. Move over, Jericho. Oh, that's funny. Jericho pops up on the stream because Sebastian Happy just sent the 5 spot. That's fucking funny. In the middle of talking about Kate, Jericho pops up on my screen. That's funny, man. Thank you, Sebastian, for that, my friend. Listen, I know that she's been hit on online. I know that she's gotten some nasty DMs from some whacked out lonely guys out there. Me, luckily, because I'm old, I'm chubby, I don't get stuff like that. I will get a lot of Japanese models that, is all written in Japan that want me to sign up for OnlyFans, and I know they're actually not looking for me. It's just spam. But I'll say this. You should know by now what you're going to get in these AEW media scrums. As far as Kate from Fightful goes, and I say this, and I swear to you, I mean what I'm about to say. I don't know her at all. I'm friends with a friend of hers. Have told me she's a nice person, and she's had some legitimate assholes hit on her. So whenever a guy gets creepy on a woman, if you're a woman that's been there, done that, I can understand why you get upset by that. When it's somebody in a position possibly like Jericho or Vince McMahon or somebody else, I think you get a little bit extra mad because you feel like somebody's using their power to try to, get a little bit of knob action off of it. So I think the anger and the resentment is legitimate. So when I see certain women out there that get really, really annoyed at some of these accusations that go out there, I believe it because that's definitely a sensitive issue. But as far as the AEW media scrum goes, if you ask the question, you will never be allowed at a media scrum again. That's why if I went to these events and covered them like others, I would never go to the media scrum. That's why we never wanted to have Dixie Carter on. That's why we never wanted to have people on, because number one, I would never be able to ask the questions that I would want to ask. You remember Cash Flow Positive? I think it was Sports Illustrated that interviewed Dixie Carter. And Dixie Carter said that Impact was cash flow positive. And I swear to God, I laughed so hard that milk came out from my nostrils. It's not because I breathed the milk in. I laughed so hard. I was drinking something and I spit out and it came out through my nose, hit my computer screen. And I swear to God, if people remember the old messages, I said, Dixie, you owe me a monitor, because I fucking spit milk out of my nose. It was the most idiotic answer, and Sports Illustrated didn't counter. Either they had no fucking idea what cash flow positive meant, or they wanted to be able to interview Dixie Carter in the future. Without naming any names, without busting any names out there, you've seen Tony Khan go on some radio shows. And the most obvious question that should be asked, they're not asked at all, ever. Why? Because they want to be able to get Tony Khan again next week, the week after, the week after. So when you see people, whether it's Kate or anybody else that you feel is not asking the questions when they get confronted with it, then you should maybe pay attention to somebody else. When was the last time you heard me talk about Wade Keller? Never. Because I'm not interested in Wade Keller. Wade Keller does not fancy me at all. I don't like his reporting. I don't like his political bullshit about the CM Punk stuff and others, so I just choose to stay away. It's like country music. I don't like country music, so I don't listen to it. I don't talk about it. I don't sit here every week and like, man, you hear that fucking country music song that came out? The fuck was that? Oh, that was fucking awful. Oh my God, if I ever hear that again, my ears will bleed. No, I just won't watch it or listen to it anymore. So if you feel that Kate is a fraud or anybody else is a fraud, then just don't pay attention to them. Just don't pay attention to them. That's my answer to it. I don't know if she's a fraud or she's not, but all I'm saying is that you should know by now why people don't ask the questions that they do. You see it every week on radio shows, podcasts. They get these special guests on, and why do the guests keep coming back? Because they know they're not going to be hit with the question that turns them into a stuttering freak. That's the answer. So you should know this by now. So when I saw all of the outrage from last night's media scrum that people didn't confront about Jericho, first of all, like I said yesterday about my Jericho comments, this is an old story, and I don't know what's real and what's not from it. Now people like, people held that story for years, and now the reason why they're bringing it out now is because they don't like Jericho and this and that. Holding things in the bag is wild if you really think about it. I just choose to stay away from that. All I know is this. I will say this publicly. I don't know where Nick Hausman got his info from. I will tell you that Nick Hausman is legit. Is he the top journalist? No, he is legit, but I will say this. I think him comparing Chris Jericho to Harvey Weinstein created an insanely big problem for him. I don't care if your podcast is rumor and innuendo, tongue-in-cheek, satire, Inc. You accuse Chris Jericho of being a Harvey Weinstein. Jericho donates so much money to so many causes, and he is so generous in the amount of money that he does give that I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about. Jericho's not a guy that has to pay the minimum amount on his credit card bill every month. This motherfucker, in my opinion, will do an extra Fozzy concert and take all the money from the Fozzy concert and hire a lawyer and sue your ass. Harvey Weinstein is a monster who should have his dick cut off, pardon my language, who should go to jail for 150 years. Harvey Weinstein is any act with a casting couch is fucked up, but to compare Jericho to him, you're just waiting to be sued. I think I truthfully believe that if Nick Hausman could have a do-over, he would not have made that remark. I don't think he would ever say that publicly because that could be used against him. So you even feel that you made a mistake in your comment. So Nick Hausman will stand by what he says, but I think he got himself in some massive trouble. And the thing is even if it did happen with Kylie Ray, we don't know the circumstances from that night. I know, I'm not saying that this happened, but I'm sorry. If I'm at a party with a couple of coworkers and we're having a couple of drinks and we're laughing, and I'm with a female coworker, and we're laughing, we have a couple of drinks and we're just chilling, and the vibe is there. If I feel like, hey, maybe she wants to kiss me, something like that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to turn around and start thinking to myself, gee, is that sexual harassment? If I'm fucking with someone and we're having drinks and in a party and there's a song on, hey, you want to dance? I'm not saying that it happened with Jericho and Kylie Ray. I'm not saying that at all. But my point is that, you know, you go to a party, you meet someone, you have a conversation, and you're clicking on all terms, and a song comes on, and you have an innocent dance, and you know you find yourself talking for 2-3 hours, and you're getting along, and you're having a couple of drinks. You know, if you get that vibe, like, hey, you know, we got a lot in common. Maybe we want to take this a little further. You know, I don't know if that's sexual harassment. I don't think that's what happened with Jericho and Kylie Ray, because as far as I know, Jericho is married. And, you know, but the idea, I will say this, the idea that Jericho had a casting couch and Jericho put her in a position that you put out or you get out, that's dangerous. That's dangerous to throw out there, you know. Plus, understand too, if I go to a Christmas party and I'm a single guy and I go to a corporate Christmas party and there's a whole bunch of single people there and I'm mingling, hanging out, and this and that, I might go home with someone that night and I might score. Or I might choose this person to talk to instead, and that person goes, sexual harassment, get away from me, you fucking parrot. You know, every situation is different. You know, the idea that nobody in the corporate world could date each other, that it's a violation, I don't buy that. Again, I'm not saying that's what happened with Jericho and Kylie Ray, but for people to paint this line that, you know, maybe because it's 2023, but I've talked about it over the years. I witnessed it with my own eyes. I've told some wild stories. I've told stories about being in a hotel room with a bunch of wrestlers, you know, after a Frank Goodman show, and one guy just gets up without mentioning names, and there's a girl taking a shower, and one famous wrestler gets up and goes in the bathroom, and the next thing you know, they're in the bathroom together for 30 minutes, and people are turning up the radio because they don't want to hear anything. You know, I mean, as far as I know, you know, when that finished, was it consensual? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen with wrestling, that's why, if you remember me years ago, I said I would never date a wrestler. I would never date a wrestler because from what I saw, it's wild to be on the road 200-300 days a year away from your loved ones, and people get lonely. You look at all these shoot interviews, you look at all these people, these legends. Please, my friends, do not take it because Ric Flair is 80 or fucking Too Cold Scorpio is 60 or Devon Dudley is 55 and say, oh, that's what they did in the 70s, in the 80s. That's what they did in the 90s. That's not what they do today. I'm sorry, I didn't know horniness changed in 30 years. You get lonely and you're not with your significant other and you're on the road fucking 200-300 days a year. Oh no, let me play my video game. Let me Twitch instead. You're horny. Yeah, that's what it is. That's why people were going with people most of the time. They were lonely. I watched it with my own eyes. The only reason why I didn't get laid is because I was fat. And I wasn't famous. Of course I had at some indie shows, you get a girl or two that are interested in you. It's just, for me, they have more chins than a Chinese restaurant. I didn't have my whites. Bill Alfonso, fucking Bill Alfonso, there's shoot interviews out there talking about Bill Alfonso, who had these crazy, beautiful women waiting for him at the hotel room. Can you imagine that guy going down? Does he blow the whistle while he's down there? Whoo, that tickled. That's just the climate. People get lonely and they do things. For people to think that in 2023, people do not cheat on their loved ones, either you're just living in a fantasy world, or you just think because someone is such a wonderful person, because they got smiley faces, because they love flowers, and they have animals, and they get all these cute little emojis. Oh my God, they would never get laid. It's just, you can't base a scenario because someone comes off as this wonderful person or an evil person. You don't know. You don't know. All right. I think I stood on this topic way too long. Police Squad. Happy New Year, Tony. Thank you for the 5-spot, Police Squad. Much love. Fucking love Naked Gun. Thank you, my friend. Sal Lamondola with the 5-spot. Happy 2024 DTM family. I can't wait for the return of Kev. You and Kev, how was your Christmas? Did you get any cool gifts? What did you get the missus? I got my wife a crossover diamond ring. Nothing crazy, but I got her something from Zales. Charged it, so it hasn't hit me yet. But the coolest gift that I got, she got me an espresso machine. And I had an espresso machine 7 years ago, and I gave it to somebody. I never liked Nespresso. I wasn't hardcore into espresso at the time, and I had one of those older machines that if you didn't know the right settings, either the coffee was too strong or too weak. Now Nespresso has these Vituro machines that the pods have barcodes on it, so you put it in the machine, and the machine knows how much water to spit out and this and that. So she got me an espresso machine, and I've been drinking it every day. So, and yes, I'm definitely looking forward to doing the shows with Kev again. Much love, my friend. Much love. How's everybody doing tonight? Seriously. I mean, I hope nobody out there feels like second class because you didn't go out on New Year's Eve. There's a lot of weirdos on the road, man. There's a lot of drunk, high people on the road. I don't like driving at night, even if it's in my own neighborhood. I drive at night and my car smells like Bob Marley was in it. Seriously. I mean, I could be listening to sports news, and by the time I get home, you would hear me going, "Do you be loved to be loved?" It's like I smell Babanya because it's all through the air. It goes in my vents. It goes to that. I drive sometimes. I'm like, wow, somebody's got some good stash. All I smell is weed in the air. And all I know is that sometimes I haven't smoked weed in probably 17, 18 years. And people that go back with me in the mid 2000s doing these shows, the last time I smoked weed, I got stoned. And at 3:00 in the morning, I went in my kitchen and made linguine with garlic and oil. I had the munchie so bad and I was so stoned from it that I started making pasta with garlic and olive oil and ground pepper at 3:00 in the morning. Because being hungry wasn't enough. Don't forget microwaving a hot dog for 30 seconds. I got to make full-blown pasta from it. I don't like smoking, but I smell it everywhere. But thank you, Sal, for that. Roger Rubio with a 2-spot. Thank you, Roger. Another great year, DT. Cup of coffee on you. I listen. I would definitely put that towards some Nespresso pods, man. Believe it or not, I got into this Cafe Bustelo kick. I don't know if anybody out there's ever had Cafe Bustelo, but tomorrow I'm making my own pods. Putting Cafe Bustelo inside it, seal it up, and try to make myself some, because those pods are expensive, man. I mean, Nespresso is not cheap. Thank you, Roger, my friend. Much love. Definitely stay tuned for 2024. We got an epic year coming up, man. Epic. It's going to be, I'm telling you, you see how so many shows out there that we're supposedly friends with ignored our announcement because they know, shit, fuck. They're not going to go, their listeners are not going to go to zero, obviously. But some people think they're going to take a hit. So, we can't let our own listeners know that DT and KC are back. That's why so many people, I think, right now have no idea that Kevin and I have done some special episodes since March. Because people are like, Don Tony by himself, I'm not going to check out his channel. And then they hear the announcement and they're like, wait, when did you guys get back together? They're like, March. Scorpio 1117, top 10 worst wrestling matches of all time. Thank you for the 2-spot, Scorpio. To give you spur in a moment, 10 matches in the history of pro wrestling is kind of loaded. I would have to think about it long and hard. I will tell you that Jenna Maraska's match in TNA against Sharmell is one of the worst. The infamous Jackie Gator match. Here's a little story. Some of you already know this, but I used to be very, very close friends with Daphne, God rest her soul. That's why that license plate will always be there. It's my little way of paying tribute to Shannon. But Shannon was supposed to work with WWE. She even had a developmental deal for a short period of time, and she got released. They kept Jackie Gator instead of Shannon. And when Jackie Gator had that match on TV, I forget who she teamed up with. Was it against Trish Stratus and someone else? But when that match went down, I swear on Jesus Christ, I will never do another show. My ceiling will come crumbling down right now, and she'll be cursing me out. You fucking lie. She called me up that night. She's like, they kept her over me. And it's nothing against Jackie Gator. Honestly, it had nothing against Jackie Gator personally. But she was kind of devastated by it. She's like, they fucking kept her over me. Just look up the Jackie Gator match. As far as other matches go, I can't listen. There's the Marina Shafir match from AEW from not too long ago. I mean, just brutally bad matches. I remember when Perry Saturn shot on, what was it, Mike Bell was his name? That was kind of like a brutal match because, Perry Saturn, I think, shot on him. But I can't give you a top 10. If you give it to me as a question in advance and I could think about it and go back to like the 80s, anything with Angelo Mosca Jr. in it would be a top 10 worst of all time. If anybody in the chat has a match that was awful that wants to share it, post it, man. Post it. Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell was a bad finish. Was it overall worst match of all time? No. Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. Wasn't it Roman and Braun Strowman? Remember the Hell in a Cell when Mick Foley was the referee? I brought this up at that time, and I think people forgot. That match directly hurt the ratings for the next 2 months. You see a clear decline in the ratings after that Hell in a Cell match. Didn't it end in like a no contest? A Hell in a Cell match ending in a no contest. If there was ever a Hell in a Cell match to end in a no contest, it's when Mick Foley fell off the cell. By God as my witness, he is broken in half. That's it. Stop the match. It's over. So, Jeff Hardy Sting? Yes. Yes. Jeff Hardy Sting. Victory Road. Absolutely. One of the worst ever. Undertaker Giant Gonzalez was bad, but it wasn't like worst of all time. Giant Gonzalez, listen, I'm not trying to be soft here. Giant Gonzalez wasn't as bad as people perceive it to be. It's because he wore that fucking body outfit that made it worse. When he was El Gigante in WCW, he was greener, but he was over. He was a freak of nature. I mean, he wasn't going to be this polished guy. The problem is he should not have feuded with The Undertaker. But Giant Gonzalez wasn't as bad as you think. All right. Sebastian Habul, I believe. Thank you again for the 5-spot, my friend. Much love. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Sorry for interrupting. Greetings from Germany. You're not interrupted, my friend. Happy New Year. And he's happy to see me back with Kev. Appreciate it, my friend. Believe me when I tell you, Kev and I want to do it. We want to do it because we used to have fun doing it. We want to do it because we see, we're kind of like angry at all the crap that's out there. We also want to do it because we want to kind of like prove to ourselves that we could still do it. I know it's out of mouth. It's not like we're a baseball player. Can he still do it? Can he still hit the ball? We're sitting on our fat asses talking, but we want to show ourselves that we could still nail it. That's why when you see like yesterday when I predicted what was going to happen with Adam Copeland and Christian or other things, but that one was extra special because we got into real specifics with Killswitch winning the Battle Royale. I posted that. That was the only thing I posted yesterday because that's just me saying to myself, you still got it a little bit. No one else out there was doing that in a prediction. Otherwise, it would have fucking tattooed it to their foreheads, and also we want to make some money. At this stage of the game, we don't do it just to hear ourselves talk. We want to make some money. My God, you see, what upsets me the most is we have podcasts out there that this is their living. This is what they do to make a living. And they got so cutthroat and lying and clickbaiting, and that is their right to do. If that's how they want to treat their audience to get a buck, go right ahead. Sooner or later, that's going to backfire. And I think that's why Kevin and I feel this is the perfect time for us to swoop in and people will be like, holy shit, look at all of this bullshit that's floating around. And these two guys are keeping it real. There's a reason why we were number one for quite some time back in the day. And it wasn't because there was no other shows out there. So thank you, Sebastian. Guardian of Chaos. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Chaos. Much love, my friend. Thank you for the 10 spot. Thank you for all you do. Will the wifey be on at midnight? Yeah, we have no champagne over here. I got a creamy root beer. People on audio only like, no. I have that and I have water. So no champagne this year, but she will come in here at midnight. I'm not going to get up and leave. She'll come in here. Fun fact, 2024 begins his 40th year journeying in professional wrestling. He feels blessed, fortunate, humbled. How cool is that, man? 40 years being able to do this. I mean, it's an awesome feeling, but, you wrote something on Twitter the other day that it really resonated with me. And it's so true that nostalgia isn't what it used to be. And, like I think of the Hangman Pages. I don't mean to single him out, but you think of a lot of wrestlers of today that won't even approach legends to pick their brain, get a little advice, little suggestions here and there. The idea today is that fuck nostalgia. We're better than nostalgia. Why go to history when we could do better in our future? And nostalgia is not what it used to be. And it's not just wrestling. It's across all sports. I mean, you see the disrespect that Jordan gets sometimes. I saw somebody the other day saying that Bill Russell is not a top 10 basketball player of all time. Now, just because you never saw Bill Russell play, doesn't mean that you have to say something, moronically stupid. Now, yes, 20, 30 years from now, and you have a bunch more legends, players of today become legends and possibly play better, people get knocked out. There was a time where Reggie Jackson was in the top 5 of the most home runs in the history of baseball. As years go by, people get bumped. Roman Reigns in wrestling, the longer his reign goes, somebody gets bumped from the top 10. It's just the way it is. The difference is this is not just a statistical comment. It's just a concept that nostalgia is not what it used to be. I put up retro episodes now, and it's amazing some of the stuff that we predicted years before it happened. And also some of the funny discussions from back in the day. And you put up nostalgia, and like 98% of the public out there don't give a shit. They just don't care. And it's kind of sad, to see that people just won't acknowledge it. Like, there's this climate now that people of today have to be better than anybody else. I can't acknowledge the fact that this person is better than me. I can't acknowledge the fact that this person did more than me. By me ignoring that history makes my worth appear bigger than what it is. And that's kind of sad. It's a little bit, but then again, why do you see on even WWE TV, you don't see legends celebrated like they used to? They might do a Legends Night once a year, and somebody may show up on the bump. But even when WWE brings in legends, it's the same people all the time. It's Jimmy Hart, it's Hulk Hogan, whoever you want to put it out there. It's the $1 Million Man, and nothing against those guys. But there's you would think that wrestling from the 70s and the 80s and even part of the 90s, you would think that 98% of the wrestlers are dead. We'll bring in DX, and that's it. And you would think 90% of the Attitude Era is dead, or they're still on the regular roster. Thank you, Chaos. Mr. Rube Dog, thank you for the 5 spot, my friend. What are my thoughts on mob guys like Sammy the Bull doing podcasts and social media? That's great, man, because Michael Trincasey, is that his name? I've watched his podcast. I've watched Sammy the Bull. I've watched a few other gangsters that I'm aware of. And to me, they're hustling. They're hustling. They're talking about mobsters that are dead, so they could say whatever. It's like Hulk Hogan. They're like the Hulk Hogan of the mobsters. When, let's say tomorrow, I don't want to be cryptic here, but let's say tomorrow, I don't know. Let me think of somebody good. Tony Khan. Something tragic happens to Tony Khan. And Hulk Hogan tomorrow will say, it's brother. Oh, I just talked to Tony, brother. We were going to do something, for Sting, brother, in April or February or whatever, March, brother. Macho Man passes, brother. We just had dinner the other day, brother. Ultimate Warrior is the only one I think he really make amends with because the cameras were there. Somebody dies. Oh, brother, I was just talking to him last night. Brother, he told me he loved me. When someone dies, unfortunately, there's no way to prove the lie, and it's sad. It's sad, but these mobsters, half the stuff they're telling is wrong. It's exaggerated. It's lies. Trust me, especially with the guys that were from my neck of the woods. There's still guys that are alive that do not go on social media and stuff. They're little characters and personalities, but they're doing it to make money. They're doing it to hustle. And some of these people are very, very charismatic. They're very well known. So if I'm Sammy the Bull or if I'm Michael Frank Casey or the others, whoever they are, I would be doing exactly what they're doing. It is what it is. But, when you're a hustler and you're a gangster and, you manipulate and you lie, cheat, and steal to get what you get, you think, oh, but now I'm being honest. Oh, the curtain has been lifted and I am revealing everything. No, you're revealing this much and you're exaggerating it with everything else. And I think people believe that most of the stuff they tell is a little exaggerated. The Getting Gotti documentary that we were, even me and my family were on albeit for 8 seconds. That documentary was very interesting because some of those lawyers from back in the day, man, they twisted that history because Gotti is dead now. But who's going to say otherwise? Who's going to say otherwise? So, but I appreciate the hustle, though. I definitely appreciate the hustle. Ricky Ricky. Slick Rick, E245. Happy New Year, Don, Tony, and family. Do I think AJ Lee returns to the WWE in 2024? Yes. I do. I think if AJ Lee was not involved with Women of Wrestling originally, then I would say no. Then I would say wrestling, it's over and done with. You know, she's content being outside of wrestling. This is not Vince McMahon's WWE anymore. CM Punk, I don't care what anybody says. CM Punk legitimately looks happy. Not only that, yes, you see some of these special moments where Madison Square Garden gives him this beautiful acrylic, piece of artwork. And he sees other things happening, and there's always a camera there to record it. You know what I mean? So they know what they're doing. Like CM Punk met Rikishi yesterday, and it was a nice moment. It was beautiful, but there's fucking cameras there to document it. You know? I mean, if the cameras weren't there, you'd think they, oh, brother, I miss you, brother. No, it might have been like, oh, Keish, how's it going? How you doing? How's everything? But the camera's there, oh, brother. CM Punk looks legitimately happy right now. And I think the more he goes to his wife, and CM Punk like, holy shit, I can't believe how fun this shit is right now. I think that makes it even more appealing for her to come back. If they could bring back Lita, if they could bring back Trish, they absolutely can bring back AJ Lee. I think you absolutely will see AJ Lee on WWE television in 2024, as long as she's not contractually obligated to somebody else. As long as she is not contractually obligated to someone else. Remember that part of it. Because people are already clickbaiting about AJ Lee coming back, but they don't bring up her current business status. If her business status is free and open, she'll be back. Okay. Before we go on over to the chat, few people in the last 45 minutes have been asking me about my thoughts about Kevin Dunn leaving WWE. I will tell you a couple of things. Number one, if you do a Google search, this was planned for a while. Wrestling sites really didn't pay much attention to it, but on the corporate business side of things, this was planned for a while. As TKO Group Holdings and WWE still condense their companies, because more people will be leaving on both sides, because they still have positions that they are condensing, you will see here and there some names that you are familiar with. Kevin Dunn leaving, I don't give a shit. And I'll tell you why I don't give a shit. Because WWE has done pretty fucking good for the last year and a half. And that guy was there. So what are you going to do? Oh, no, Kevin Dunn, he must have been behind the Cameron Grimes stuff. Oh, Kevin Dunn, he must be the one doing the Nikki Cross stuff. Oh, fucking Dragon Lee is great, but Kevin Dunn must be doing the Xia Li stuff. No, WWE's been pretty fucking good for the last year and a half, and he's been a part of it. The thing is, Kevin Dunn, this is a feel-good moment for people on social media that get some type of an erotic fascination and feeling inside by saying, fuck you, Chris. Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. Fuck you, Jericho. Fuck you, Dunn. I've been waiting for this for 30 years. Did you get fired from Kevin Dunn? Waiting for Kevin Dunn to be fired for 30 years? The fuck is wrong with you? Anybody out there that says it that did not work for the WWE or has been directly abused, well, the product sucked over the years. Yeah, Kevin Dunn leaving suddenly Triple H wouldn't have fucked a mannequin. Or Vince McMahon wouldn't have come out with a do-rag and said, "What up, ma?" People are acting like Kevin Dunn stepped on their dog, ran over their mother, pissed in their cornflakes, put a banana in their gasoline, shit in their bag, chewed up their wood. He's a beaver. These people are overreacting like Kevin Dunn fucked their significant other. Kevin Dunn don't matter to me. And WWE's been pretty fucking good for the last year and a half. So Kevin Dunn leaving. Bye. Bye. Good luck on your future endeavors. I will not remember you the next day. That's how I feel about Kevin Dunn. You see these people writing this stuff on Twitter. They don't give a fuck about Kevin Dunn. They just want a reason to say fuck you to something. It's always fuck you to the people that they'll get 5,000 likes from. You never see them say fuck you to somebody that might get some little bit of triggered anger in return. You don't see them praising or defending people that might be getting a little bit of a fair shake or being prejudged. No, it's always let me go in line. So, look, 6,000 people loved what I said. I'm popular. I'm going to go to a wrestling event and they're going to put me on the Titantron and everybody's going to go, Mikey D, Mikey D, Mikey D. Yeah, you tell him. Yeah, he's fucking famous. He told Kevin Dunn, fuck you. Oh my God. Most of these people that do that, I'm sorry. Go look it up. They don't have no boyfriend. They don't have no girlfriend. They don't have no fucking husband, no fucking wife. Next time you see morons getting outraged with Kevin Dunn, look at their marital or relationship status. Because who the fuck is going to date or marry somebody that's a weirdo that goes on Twitter and says, fuck you, Kevin Dunn. I hate you. I've been waiting for this for 30 years. Let your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or boyfriend read that tweet and let that person say to you, what did he do to you? Nation of domination. Like, what did he do to you? Like, how do you, seriously, my wife is one of the reasons why I don't write dumb tweets anymore, because she has stopped me many times. And believe me when I've told this before, I'm sorry for anybody I'm repeating this to, but, a couple of years ago, I wrote something on Twitter and it was the ultimate fuck you about something. I don't remember what it was, but it's almost like, fuck you, Chris. Like, that's the easy thing you could say now. But I wrote this like 5 or 6 sentence tweet. That was like the most epic insult about something. And before I hit send, I showed it to my wife. It's like, honey, what do you think? And she read it and she looked at me and she said, how old are you? And I was like, huh? She's like, how old are you? Like, what's the point of that? Why? So a bunch of people could praise you for it? What are you, fucking 12? What do you care? And I sat back and I was like, yeah, that is kind of, like baby and like kind of immature. And I deleted it. And then a couple other times, like I say to myself, does it pass the wifey test? Like if I write something really like, fuck you, if I wrote that about Kevin Dunn, what people are writing right now, and I showed it to my wife would say, what did he do to you? He just sucks. Well, why does he suck? Because he does. Well, why does he suck? Because nobody likes him. Well, why does nobody like him? Because he sucks. Like, really? This is what you're angry with? It's weird, man. Kevin Dunn, leave. Next time I want to hear about you is when I have to do a black and white graphic that has the year you were born and the year that you died. Dead serious. That's the next time I want to hear about Kevin Dunn. Unless he gets his teeth done. Unless he gets hair done. Or if he undergoes some type of transformation. I don't care about Kevin Dunn. All right. James Campbell with a question. Would CM Punk being an attraction wrestler? And I know why you wrote that, because a certain wrestling writer wrote he's an attraction wrestler. He's not an attraction wrestler, but okay. We'll go with it for now. With what looks like a part-time schedule, do I think he'll have one more WWE Championship run, or just get close and have other high-profile feuds? CM Punk is being used sparingly right now, because the less you see CM Punk, the more you want to see Seth Rollins kick his ass and vice versa. That's why CM Punk is not working as many shows. People that are calling him a special attraction, no, Andre the Giant was a special attraction. Brock Lesnar, in some ways, was a special attraction. CM Punk is not a special attraction. The people in the wrestling journalist world that will label him a special attraction are the same ones that expected him to be a full-time wrestler and a heavyweight champion and on TV on a regular basis. And when, after 3 or 4 weeks, when WWE made him a cog in the wheel and not the wheel themselves, people like, oh, he's a special attraction. No, you just got it wrong. 2 days after Survivor Series happened, sorry, Kevin and I did an episode, and Kevin and I said, for the people out there that think that CM Punk is going to be on TV every single week, wrestling every other week, you're in for a rude awakening. Because WWE is going to prolong his career. They're going to make his matches special. They're going to make sure that they use him the right way. It's just that people got it so fucking wrong because they were used to what he was doing on Collision. On Collision, he was on TV almost every single week. WWE brought him in to be on the graphic along with everyone else, not the main attraction. And they all got it wrong. So now they use the attraction, special attraction, to try to cover up their own inept. But yes, CM Punk will have another championship run. If CM Punk could stay healthy, CM Punk will be a champion again. It will not happen until the summer. World Championship reign at the earliest, summer of next year. People think, oh, Seth's going to keep the belt until Mania. And CM Punk's going to beat Seth at Mania. And that's the perfect opportunity to change the belt and take it off of Seth's hands. Why? Because you think it's a good idea? No. We'll see. That could happen. I mean, it absolutely could happen. I mean, in 24 hours, we'll know what happened with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Roderick Howard, what are my thoughts on the current AEW television? I still like it, but it feels like it's missing an excitement or gritty feel it had in 2019. I'll summarize it like this. The Continental Classic. Overall, I thought it was good because everybody that was in it were talented. We didn't have any Maki Itos. And I'm not saying she's not talented, but still can't get over she was in the Owen Hart tournament. Yeah. This is not like Sasha Banks to Eddie Guerrero. Oh, Owen Hart. I based my whole career to Owen. You know, whatever. I like Maki Ito. But anyway, the Continental Classic. I swear to God, this is true. I haven't watched as much Dynamite live in the last 2-3 months because it feels a lot of rinse and repeat. I'm not interested in Ring of Honor. When tournaments are being done just because they're more exciting than having regular matches, I'm kind of tired of it. To see 95 belts, they don't feel special. You know, now it's got to be Triple Crown. Next, somebody's going to have 9 titles like the Ultimo Dragon. You know, it's like you can't just go with just simple good shit anymore. Everything's got to have an over-the-top deal with it. That's why it's getting so predictable. Yesterday when we did predictions, we predicted so much shit on point to the details because you could see a mile away. But the Continental Classic. I remember when it started. Tony Khan emphasized that it was going to be about wrestling, that it was going to be clean. It was going to be about, not necessarily enforcing the rules, but it was going to be, good wrestling. And you're thinking, okay, they're finally going to stop, the over-the-top clusterfuck stuff. And I literally the other day put on, I don't know if it was Jay White and John Moxley, or it might have been the three-way. And I see like a table involved. And I'm like, yeah, it's same shit. I mean, if you look at the Continental Classic, as it went on, it just turned into another fucking tournament that AEW does. You could cry wolf a million times that this is going to be an epic announcement. This is going to be, just traditional wrestling. We're going to do old school. We're not going to do this. We're going to do that. And then after 3 weeks, they're doing the very same thing they did before. And a lot of the elite media out there just looks the other way. Did you see any of those people who over the top fancy AEW? Did they call them out on, relaxing the rules a little bit, or even some of the shit going on in those matches? No, they didn't do that, because they realize, it's just the same old AEW. I just feel that AEW, this is my problem with AEW. And I mean this. I hated it when Vince McMahon used to say, I know what the fans want better than they know themselves. He used to say that. And that would piss people off. And then I remember a time where Triple H and Stephanie and I think Shane and Vince were in the ring. And, we know that we could do better and we're listening. You ain't listening. And I think the problem with AEW is that nobody asked for a Triple Crown championship tournament deal. Yes, we got good matches out of it. But the problem is, just because it makes sense for Shayna Wayne to turn on Adam Copeland a couple of weeks ago, just because it makes sense, doesn't mean it should be on my fucking TV. Adam Copeland concertoed Nick Wayne because of all the antics that Nick Wayne has done. Yes, I'm Nick Wayne's mom. Adam Copeland concertoed my son. You best damn believe I'm going to hit him in the nuts. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean it should be on my TV. And the problem is, what I'm watching on TV doesn't feel like we're getting it because the climate of fans want that. It's because Tony Khan believes this is what's best and what, we all want. And he puts it out there. He thinks that everybody loves Ring of Honor. I don't give a fuck about Ring of Honor. The tag titles against the masked men. The only reason why people are fine now about Samoa Joe dropping the heavyweight title is because he won the title yesterday. You think, listen, Samoa Joe relinquished his Ring of Honor title, with TV title, whatever it was, because he wanted to go for the heavyweight title. Okay. He won the title yesterday, and if I only say that sentence, you say to me, okay, DT, that makes sense. He surrendered the Ring of Honor title because he wanted to focus on the world title. A fucking week later, he's fighting for the Ring of Honor tag titles. Don't give me, that was psychology. What if they would have lost if this was real? What if they would have lost, you dumb fucking Samoan? You fucking gave up your belt and you're fighting for a title next week anyway. Long-term thinking, my friend. Long-term thinking. You going to finish that? This is why I don't watch it on a weekly basis. Because, you point A. Listen, here. I live in Queens, New York, not far from Long Island. I want to go to Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. If I drive to Long Island, in order to get to Mohegan Sun, I got to go on a ferry. If I want to go to Mohegan Sun driving the full route, I got to go through the Bronx, and then I got to go through City Island, and then I got to go through the top of Connecticut and, go to the other side. Or I could go on Long Island, go on a ferry. Point is, you want to get to point A, from point A to point B, the smoothest possible. Just because I got from point A to point B and I decided, let's go through Jersey. Let's go to Staten Island too, and I get there in 7 hours. But I got there. You idiot. You drove all these unnecessary extra hours for no reason whatsoever. It made no sense. You want to get there, you go from point A to point B. And they took all these diversions and everything. Oh, no, in the end, that was the intention. We want to watch wrestling, and it be simple, and we want to enjoy it, and we want to go on to the next week. We don't want to have a social studies class and analyze it. Fans, what did you learn in the last 2 weeks about Samoa Joe? Well, sir, I believe that Joe, even though he's dropped the title, that he decided to fight for the Ring of Honor tag titles as a psychology factor and help MJF. And they were certain in victory. I don't fucking want to have an analysis class for 2 months leading up to it. Give me easy shit to enjoy. And AEW is just a clusterfuck at times. And just because a match is 4.5 stars, that was the funny thing. Now, this is when you know that there's a problem. Eddie Kingston won yesterday. I predicted Eddie Kingston was going to win. I love Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, I followed his career for 20 years. Absolutely love Eddie Kingston. The minute Eddie Kingston won yesterday, instead of people just loving the moment, you know what they had to do on social media? What of all of you people that thought the Continental Classic sucked, what do you all have to say about it now? What do you all got to say about it now? For all you people that ragged it and said it sucked, Brian Last, what do you have to say about it now? That shows you the problem. Instead of just enjoying it, awesome moment, no, they got to, in their mind, instead of just, this is fucking great. Congrats, Eddie Kingston. Fun. Loved it. It's no, let me rub it in people's faces. See, you were wrong. Shut up next time. That's why I don't watch AEW like I used to. Because if you criticize something, you got a boatload of people who do matter and do have clout waiting to make you feel this fucking big. If I'm Tony Khan, you got to step up and start putting some of these people in their place. Listen, guys, I love your support. I thank you for pushing our product, but you're not helping me. You're not helping me. Because when people do that to me, I can't even go on Twitter and criticize something with the Continental Classic because I have to have a bunch of retards come to me and say, oh, what do you think now, Don Tony? Oh, you eating your words now? What do you have to say about that, fatso? Fuck you. I just won't even watch it. That's how I feel about it. Happy New Year. We're at 11:40, everyone. We are at 11:40. What's going on? Let's see. That's too small. Let's see. Oh, God. We were talking about, Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy. Flavor Flav. We can't play the audio, though. But, yeah, okay. I like Flavor Flav. Honestly, if you follow Flavor Flav in the 90s, would you have thought that he would have been around at this point? So. Tristan is asking, was I born in Sicily or here? I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Do not do an Intellis search on me. You won't find anything anyway, so I don't care if you search. Just don't steal my identity. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My father was born in Italy. Believe it or not, here's a cool little tidbit about my dad. My dad's birthday is January 6th. My dad technically was born around Christmas time. He came to America about 10 days after he was born. when he came to America in the late 40s, they put on his birth certificate the day that he arrived at Ellis Island. So his birthday is officially January 6th. But technically, my father's birthday is around Christmas time. That is true fact. LL Cool J's performing? Oh, let's see. Is that LL Cool J? I don't know if it is, but we can't play the audio. We'll get in trouble. Is that for some reason it doesn't look like LL Cool J. LL Cool J don't have moves like. Is it really him? Wow. He kind of like dances like shit now. I mean, he dances like, you know what he dances like? He dances like an old fat white guy that goes to a wedding that has no vibe whatsoever, and he basically just goes. I mean, am I wrong? Look at him dancing right now on the screen. He's literally going like this. It's like a weeble wobble. I mean, I'm not criticizing LL Cool J. Look, he's actually doing it. Look, he's actually doing it. He's doing exactly. Dance, motherfucker. Dance, spider. All right. 11:41 p.m., guys. 11:41. I'm a big fan of LL Cool J. I always loved his stuff. I remember his first song, Radio. I can't remember the lyrics right now. But that first song that he had, and then he had the booming system. I used to crank that in my car. Oh my God. Mama said, knock you out. I even like that song, I Need Love. He tried to do a romantic song. That song actually had a good vibe to it, man. Oh no, it wasn't Radio. I Need a Beat. I Need a Beat. That was the song. I need a beat. Okay. Dick Clark era is long gone. Dick Clark is no longer with us. Now they do like Ryan Seacrest and all that stuff. You know, it sucks that, like I said earlier, you know, the big commotion in New York City right now is that they're worried about thousands of people just peeing on the street. I honestly think that happens anyway. You know, I know people that go to Times Square on New Year's Eve and they want like a really good spot. And sometimes there's no bathroom and they just take a chance. Like they'll pee in a water bottle. Hopefully nobody's looking. If you wear like one of those giant overcoats, you put the bottle inside and you're like, you could tell when somebody's peeing because they'll just be standing there and you're just like taking in the vibe and all of a sudden you'll see this go, ah. And you could tell it. How many of you done that? You're holding it in. You're like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then you finally go and you're like, ah. So fly, happy 30. Oh, you know what? I a little surprise for a few of you right now. First off, happy 34 months. So fly, as a member of the family. Don Tony, we getting appearance from the missus tonight? Yeah, she'll come in here. I think she's wearing PJs too. Don't make fun of her PJs. What I'm going to do right now, I didn't even know I could do this. Wait a minute, I can't do this? Oh, shit. I can't. Why can't I do this live? I'm supposedly able to give away channel memberships. I'm supposed to be able to give away channel memberships. Hold on. No, I can't. I could do it after the show. Why can't I do this? You know what? Hang on a second. I'm supposed to be able once a month, I think, to give away like 5 or 10 channel memberships. Let me see if I get, I mean, I know this is a little bit amateurish, but let me go on my feed. You might hear duplicate audio in the background for a second. Let me see what happens. I want to see if I could do something here. I'm going to go on my live feed. Hang on one sec. Okay. I'm going on as if I'm like anybody else. I can't. Wait. Yeah, I can do it. Okay. I'm going to give away, I'm going to give 5 memberships away right now. What that is you get a free membership for the next 30 days. And just so everybody knows that's a channel member here, what we're going to be doing is the 2 tiers that we have right now for channel members. Both tiers are going to get the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show every week. But the bigger tier, which is that 3-star tier, you're going to start getting retro episodes as well. I put 45 episodes up on Patreon over the last month. I'm going to start posting them here as well. So I'm going to give away 5 members. It's just random. I can't choose who it goes to, but YouTube just started this. Every month, I could give away 10 memberships. That's not bad. That's like $50 worth of membership. So I'm going to hit the button now, and we're going to give 5 away. Listen, if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. It's free. So I'm going to give 5 right now. Let's see what happens. It's the first time I'm doing this. There we go. Oh, good. Maggie got one. Mike Lee got one. Gordon Post. Nixie got one. And Sinister. Listen, I don't like to have preferences, but that's cool that everybody on that list I'm familiar with. So all 5 of you get a membership for the next month. So you'll get some retro episodes, and you'll get the prediction show that Kevin and I are going to do, and you'll get the first official Monday night return. So we have 5 more. So we'll give away 5 more next week. So next Sunday, we'll give out 5 more. But wait a minute. Is it 5 every 30 days? Is it 10 every 30 days or 10 each month? Because tomorrow is a new month. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Next week, I'll definitely give away 5 more. But if it resets, then we'll have 10 more. So, you're welcome, Maggie. But I'm not going to lie. I didn't, pick you. I'm not trying to say that as a joke. It just randomly selects. It randomly selects. So, but I'm happy the people that did get it. So, yeah, and you can check out, there's some content there already. There's a whole bunch of Patreon shows up there and stuff. So, all right, we're getting close. It's 11:47. So let's answer a few more questions in the chat. Let's get the wifey in here. And we could throw this on the screen just so people could get a little idea as far as who's hanging out right now. Okay. Let's see who's got more questions. All right. So tomorrow's day 1. And, Rhea Ripley obviously is going to retain her title. I think Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are going to become next number 1 contenders. We'll have more, friction with the Judgment Day. And let's see if Gunther's back tomorrow. Gunther just became a dad. And who's the mystery person? The former WWE champion to show up. Like I said yesterday, I don't know if it's going to be Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar is supposed to return in time for the Royal Rumble. Would not be surprised if he returns in time for the Royal Rumble. So Gruss is asking me, would I ever move to Texas? No. I've heard great things about Texas. Me, when everything is said and done, I'm either moving to Marco Island, Florida, or I'm going to move to Connecticut. Me and my wife have talked about it. Once my parents are no longer here and her parents are no longer here, which we hope is not for a very long time, once they are gone, we're going to start working on moving either Marco Island, Florida, or Connecticut. One cool thing, if I'm still doing shows, it doesn't affect the shows. Other than moving day, really, when you think about it. Andrade showing up would be interesting, Kevin. The only thing is, if Andrade were to show up tomorrow, where would he fit in? Cody is not done with Shinsuke. Seth is busy with Drew. Gunther Andrade? I think Andrade's better for SmackDown. Santos Escobar? Whether with him or against him? I think that right off the bat. You're not going to put Dominic Mysterio in a feud with Andrade. So I don't know if Andrade should be on Raw Monday. I wish it's Big E. People heard what I said about Ridge Holland the last 2 weeks. I think Big E, we might get that surprise in 2024 that Big E could return to the ring. I think Ridge Holland doing what he's doing in NXT right now, there's got to be something positive going on with Big E for that to happen. Plus, we might have been on to something yesterday. Did Ridge Holland, was he the one to have attacked Trick Williams? We might have picked it up. We might have nailed it. And did Carmelo Hayes hire Ridge Holland? Did Lexis King hire Ridge Holland? You know, something to think about. But Ridge Holland may end up being revealed as the one who attacked Trick Williams. No one else is talking about that, by the way. That's kind of why Kevin and I want to do shows again and put clips online. Because if we had clips online, if it's revealed that Ridge Holland attacked Trick, then people could be like, oh, you see, I told you. Yeah, but the Don, Tony, Kevin Castro, they said it like 3 weeks ago. You know, so yeah, I know it sounds petty, but we get very, very little credit for shit that we nail that no one else does. So, but if Drew wins tomorrow, that'll be sweet. Do I think Andrade would be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you put him in the Royal Rumble? The interesting thing is, do you align Andrade with Zelina Vega? You got Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro now in doing some stuff in NXT. Rey Mysterio is still on the shelf. Zelina Vega, she got nobody. I would not be surprised if Zelina Vega confronts Santos Escobar by bringing on Andrade. We will see. Trick Williams is awesome, man. Trick Williams, I'm telling you, that is he's got to win an award for 2023. Maybe most improved wrestler. See, I would not give that to Dominic Mysterio because Dominic Mysterio, he's so new. Like, yes, he's improved from a year ago, but you know, like Dominic is still like put it this way, Dominic was still growing. I guess you could say the same for Trick Williams. Maybe you do Dominic as most improved wrestler in WWE, Trick Williams most improved wrestler in NXT. Last year, you know what though? Lola Vice. I think Lola Vice would give Trick Williams a run for his money as most improved wrestler in NXT. We are going to be doing year-end awards this year. Kevin and I are doing Blackheart year-end awards. What we may do is we may do a set of awards for AEW, a set of awards for WWE, and a set of awards for NXT. I don't know if I want to mingle the three. I don't think that's a good idea. You know, I think having 3 separate sets of awards might be the way to go because a lot of others, they'll do that. We want to be a little bit different, so we'll see. It's 11:53, guys. We are about 6 minutes away to midnight. Trick does have the it factor. You know what's amazing about Trick? It was not too long ago that people were, including me, that were talking about who's the Shawn Michaels and who is the Marty Jannetty of this team. And Trick Williams, it felt he was so far behind Carmelo Hayes. And not only is Trick Williams upped his game, I think Carmelo Hayes has fallen back a little bit. He had great showing on WWE television, did decent on SmackDown, not taking away from Carmelo Hayes, but his character took a hit. When he shook the hand of Braun Breaker at Stand and Deliver, I think that was the beginning of the decline of Carmelo Hayes. Look at all those ratings week after week after week that Carmelo Hayes was the lowest of the night. I will never forget that contract signing with him and Ilya. And it was the deadest audience I'd ever seen in a wrestling contract signing in my lifetime. Carmelo Hayes needs some spicing up. His babyface run in 2023 was not very good. Talented, but that run was not good. Lunchbox Patreon gets all of the shows. They will always get all the shows. Our Patreon family is part of the reason, a big part of the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing. This shit costs money. My website, just to store the files, is $180 a month. That may not sound like a lot. That's not even streaming. That's not even domains and software and hardware and, all the other expenses and taxes. And my God, listen, we love wrestling. All of us do. But at this stage of the game, it's expensive. Put it this way. You see how much prices have gone up in the real world in the last 2-3 years. Trust me, 10 years ago, it was half the cost to do the shows that we do now. It's very expensive, and the money's got to come somewhere. Why do you think so many people clickbait now? Why do you think so many people put these ridiculous bad titles to draw you in? And then once they draw you in, they change the story, and people still flock to it because they got to get your money somehow. That's why Kevin and I coming back in 2024, we're going to piss off a lot of people out there. Not intentionally, but hey, if your listeners or viewers listen, in the perfect world, having other shows, listeners and viewers tuning into us, we'd rather have those listeners and viewers enjoy everybody. We're not telling anybody to tune into us instead of someone else, but being pretty fucking funny. We're going to pay close attention as we're moving on up. We want to be Jefferson's territory. Trust me, if we get up there, I will be walking like George Jefferson. Trust me. I might even do the Jefferson dance, which kind of looks like Prince Nana. Rojo Man, thank you for the 2-spot, my friend. He still has 2 hours left. Oh, so it's 9:57 where you are. Honey, you got to come here in a minute. Oh, you know what we got to do? Let me see. Can I put the chat room too? This might not be possible. I might be able to. I kind of can. Okay, that works. Oh, wait. Is that Neil Sedaka? Don't ask me why I know that. That looks like, is that who it is? Does that look like Neil Sedaka? I can honestly say in my lifetime, I've never watched Neil Sedaka perform, but he's got one of those faces that I honestly think my mother probably watched him when I was a kid. And I was probably like, Mom, why are you watching him for? That looks like, is that Neil Sedaka? That looks like Neil Sedaka. Harris Beeb, happy 33 months, my friend. 1 hour left. He's in St. Louis. Happy New Year, my friend. It's 4:58 where Maggie is right now. Maggie, where are you? 4:58. Is that the morning or is that no, it's got to be the morning. It can't be the afternoon. Nobody goes backwards that far. Wow. Australia? Shit. Oh, yeah, it's got to be Australia. Yeah. Scotland. No. My niece is in Scotland right now. She just went to Scotland for a week. She landed, I think, today. Prince Albert, Happy New Year, my friend. It's already 2:58 p.m. where he is in Guam. Honey, come here, honey. It's 11:59.
I'm tired. I'm so sleepy this year. I already said Happy New Year to all my family and friends. All I have to do, tomorrow I'll do the rest because they are probably not celebrating.
No makeup alert. No makeup alert. I'm kidding. I mean me.
I gotta call my parents after this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have champagne this year, but I do have a nice expensive Keurig.
Does anybody know if that was Neil Sedaka? Actually, I give props to everybody who's live right now because the fact that you don't know that it's him, but it looks like him. He's got that familiar face. There we go. 55. We're down. 54. 53. Come on. What's what? Oh, that's just my alert thing. Yeah, you're being blocked by the video. You got to come in a little bit further. They see leopard skin. They think you're dressed in like a skimpy outfit. So.
Like a Peggy Bundy. Oh,
yeah.
right, you're all sweaty.
It's hot in here. It's hot in here.
Why don't you put on the window?
No, because it interferes. We're 30 seconds away, guys. Oh, so it was Neil Sedaka. All right, No, you got to come over here. It's only 15. It's like 15, 18 seconds. Come on.
You know that Puerto Rico was already New Year's.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people tuning in right now. It's all right. Come on, 10 seconds.
You know you're the loudest one in this whole complex?
Yeah, I know.
Everybody else is sleeping.
All right, give me a kiss.
Why?
Because It's 2024.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God.
All right. Happy New Year.
It's not New Year's yet.
Yes, it is. Look, Happy New Year. 2024. See, 12 a.m.
What does that say?
It says I'm live. One more.
How long are you gonna be in there?
Half hour. Half hour.
And I already took my New Year's dump, so don't ask.
Okay. Did you hear that, guys? She took her New Year's dump. Just close the door. She's got similar wit that I do. So she's a keeper. She's a keeper. Happy New Year, everybody. Much love. Much love. We keep the screen going. 2024, man. Man, this year flew by. This year flew by. Oh, you know what I got to do? Look, I got to call my mom. I do this every year. I bet you her phone is busy too. Watch. I got to call my mom live on the show. Look, she'll say, I wonder if she's sleeping. Let's see if she's sleeping. She's on the phone. She's definitely on the phone. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Ma.
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You sound like you're sleeping.
No. I had Bocce, and I had to give him a certain medicine at 11 o'clock, so...
Okay. Yeah.
For them next door. Daddy for them next door.
All right. Well, Happy New Year. Tell Daddy I said Happy New Year also. Tanya says
I
Happy
will.
New Year.
What?
I said Tanya says Happy New Year also.
Oh, Happy New Year's. Did you go to Savannah there?
Yeah, Saffron. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, we went.
Good.
All right.
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you in the morning.
All right. Good
All
night.
right. Good night. Sorry. It's the annual tradition. I got to say Happy New Year to my mom and my dad. So, Grandma DT. My grandma has been dead since 1991. But she's the reason why I'm even doing this right now. She made me a wrestling fan. So, I got to just do one more thing. I got to say Happy New Year to my brother. Happy New Year! Exclamation point. Okay, why is this all fucked up? Oh no, shit. I know why. Sorry, everybody. Sorry that there's a little premature, a little amateurish, but Happy New Year! Exclamation point. Okay, back to business. So we'll stick around till 12:30, and then we will call it. So we are officially in 2024. It's going to be an interesting year for wrestling-wise. Jade Cargill, what is she going to do? Will Sasha Banks return? Will AJ Lee return? Will Seth Rollins lose the title? Hello? Hello?
Happy New Year, Anthony.
Happy New Year. I just text you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just text you. Happy New Year to you as well.
thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right. He's having fun somewhere. Will AJ Lee return? Where will Raw end up with a TV deal? What happens to AEW with their TV deal? Do we see additional people leaving AEW to go back to WWE? Will there be additional controversy? Will Swerve become heavyweight champion for AEW? Not Ring of Honor, not AAA, not New Japan. I want to see AEW world champion. Athletic Gamer with a 2-spot. Thank you, Athletic Gamer. Happy New Year, DT. Everyone silent, but here. Yeah, it is. It is. I think, listen, I know at the end of every year, we look forward to bigger and better things the next year. I mean, has there ever been a year that you finish up like, this fucking year was pretty damn good. I think next year is going to be worse. I don't think anybody really wants that unless you had a crazy successful year. Oh, shit. I got to put this on silent. My friend is a cop in New York City right now, and I'm like part of like a message with like 35 other people. So every time they want to get together, I get like 50 texts in 5-10 minutes. Trust me. If I don't put it on silent, it'll be the most annoying phone going off. So Lunchbox, thank you for the 2-spot, my friend. Happy New Year to you as well. Here's to a great 2024. Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, I really, because we're all here because we're wrestling fans for the most part. I really, really believe 2024 is going to be an awesome year. I mean, 2023 was definitely better than 2022 in wrestling-wise. And what's funny is you look at AEW and the perception is that AEW had a worse year than 2022. I'm not so sure. I mean, yes, you had Wembley. Of course, you had Wembley. And yes, live events have been down a little bit as well. But, I'm not trying to, sugarcoat AEW, but maybe things in disarray is the only way AEW is going to straighten their shit out. You hear about that guy, Kevin Sullivan. No, not the taskmaster, but the guy that worked behind the scenes. Kevin Sullivan is gone. You got the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, Indian name. He's no longer there. Matt Jackson's wife. Listen, guys, that story was so dumb to be reporting. People like, oh, she left AEW because she feels AEW didn't defend her husband more. First of all, people are acting like the fight with the Elite and CM Punk happened this year. It happened a year and a fucking half ago. If you were that upset, you would have left a year and a half ago. And Matt is still working there. It's people just blow shit up to blow shit up. But I think this disarray by AEW might force Tony Khan to change. Listen, Tony Khan is going to get to a point where his own loyal, extreme followers are going to start to turn. You cannot do that Naked Gun segment where Leslie Nielsen is in front of the building that's exploded, and it's on fire. Remember that scene in the first Naked Gun? There's nothing to see here. Everything is fine. There's nothing to see here. The more he says that everything is great, and we had the greatest thing, and we have all in coming up next year, after a while, people are going to start laughing at him. And I think he realizes that as well. Sooner or later, that gets old and it gets tired. Yesterday, when he made the remark that circulated that he's fighting for all of the promoters that did not succeed against Vince McMahon, I'll say this. For all of the promoters that he was talking about, whether it's the Crockett's, the Gagnes, the Turners, whoever you want to talk, let me ask you all a question. Did any of those promoters become wrestling promoters because they were fighting for other promoters that closed down? Do you think Vern Gagne, one of his goals was to be the number one, to be that person for all of the promoters who failed before him? All those promoters, Tony, are looking down in heaven right now and laughing at you and calling you a fucking dumb mark. Sorry I have to say that on New Year's Day, but the idea that he is trying to portray himself as a hero, he's turning into fucking Vince McMahon. Only difference is, Tony Khan, for some reason, isn't getting laid off of his money, and that's an good ethic thing to have. But Tony Khan is technically Vince McMahon without the perverted sexual prowess. The more he acts in this twisted way, he thinks that he is God Almighty, that he's got, he is the savior. He is the person representing everyone else. No, you're not the Dusty Rhodes of promoters. I'm just a common man. I'm just fighting like everybody else. I'm the common man. I'm the common promoter. I'm fighting for all the promoters that went up against the evil Vince and failed. Why Tony Khan don't have a Southern accent? It makes Tony Khan feel good. But, sooner or later, it's going to get old. That's why I honestly think AEW will have a better 2024. I think if they're pushed up against the Fed, listen, if Warner Media drops them, what the fuck could he say? What could he say? That WWE, what is he going to do? Have an MLW type lawsuit against Vince or TKO Group Holdings? Like, what happens then? So I think Tony Khan, the more he gets pushed up against the wall, the more he may react in a better way. So maybe this disarray is good for him right now. Look, he's getting a lot of heat for the Jericho thing. And I will say this, we still don't know exactly what happened with Jericho and Kylie Ray. So it is a little unfair at this point because you don't know the actual story. Just because you think you know the actual story doesn't mean you know the actual story. Just because Kylie Ray is a sweetheart doesn't necessarily mean that Jericho was the evil, perverted, man that put her in a really bad, compromising position. You don't know. So Tony Khan getting this heat, he's not used to that. The media scrum, he got filled with pillows, but outside of that media scrum, he's getting hammered right now. So Ken Shamrock in the Royal Rumble, Sebastian Hobby, thank you for the 2-spot. I don't see, let me put it this way. It's not against Ken Shamrock. I like Ken Shamrock. I thought what he did recently in Impact was good. Even though it's been a few years already. The current WWE audience is not going to care about Ken Shamrock. I hate to say it. If he came out as a guest on Monday, wow, wouldn't that be interesting? I don't think the WWE Universe would really care all that much. I think all the young fans would be like, who's that? Why would the WWE Universe care about Ken Shamrock in 2024? Why? Because he was in the Attitude Era? So putting him in the Royal Rumble, it would be like Genichiro Tenryu in the Royal Rumble in the mid-90s. You're like, oh, I know who that is. Oh, okay. And then he gets eliminated 3 minutes later. It's like, I don't think it'll matter. C. Henry, I don't care if Kylie Ray has some emotional issues or not. Whether you have emotional issues or not, you should never be harassed sexually. And just because she has some issues doesn't mean that this situation was falsified or she was more, like, what's the right word? More vulnerable for the situation. I don't think it's that deep. You could be depressed and still go to a party, have a good time, and get hit on. You could still be depressed and be at the bar at a hotel after a wrestling event and somebody hits on you. It's not that deep. I think sometimes people think because someone is depressed or has some emotional issues that they can't even pee without somebody helping them. Let's not act like Kylie Ray was an invalid, that she didn't know what she was doing. You have some emotional issues, that's fine. It doesn't mean she can't work and get dressed and take a shower and hang out with family and friends and work. People battle emotional issues every day. There are people out there that go watch wrestling as an escape. Let's not treat Kylie Ray like she was, like mentally challenged here. She had issues, and if she was hit on, we don't know the scope of it. That's why I'm not jumping the gun about the Chris Jericho stuff. I don't know what's on our screen, but we could kind of like take that off. All right. The ball is dropped. All right, we're going to drop this stream in about 15 minutes. Shamrock, if he goes in the Hall of Fame, will go in the regular Hall of Fame. There's no reason to put him in the Celebrity Hall of Fame. He was not a celebrity. Being an MMA fighter is not a celebrity. Pete Rose, is a celebrity. The guy that hosts The Price is Right is a celebrity. But I think Ken Shamrock in the Hall of Fame, If it doesn't happen in 2024, it'll happen in 2025. I really want to see Paul Heyman go in this year. In Philly, you're not going to get a better moment. Paul Heyman in the Hall of Fame, 2024. Dream 101. Thank you for the 2-spot, my friend. Yeah, we're talking a little bit about the Hall of Fame right now. I think Paul Heyman is a lock. What do you guys think about other nominees for the Hall of Fame this year? I don't think The Rock goes in. I know some people have speculated that. I don't think The Rock. Batista is such a weird deal. I know we were in COVID, but I don't know what the fuck happened there with Batista. I kind of feel like Batista, get it over with already. This year might be the perfect year for Batista, because I almost feel like Batista wanted to be the headliner. Do you put Batista in this year as the headliner? What do you guys think about that? Bray Wyatt, this is really up to the family, and it may still be a little bit too soon. And look, a year from now, it's not going to feel much better. A year from now, we're still going to be sobbing over Bray Wyatt's passing. But Bray Wyatt is definitely a legit possibility for this year. D'Lo Brown, I'm fine with it, but I don't think that happens anytime soon. Dan Severn in the Hall of Fame, I don't think that happens anytime soon. Dan Severn did not have a Hall of Fame wrestling career. MMA did great shit. Dan Severn was not bad, but to me, he's not a pro wrestling Hall of Famer. I don't think he's done enough. Steve Blackman in the Hall of Fame, I am fine with Steve Blackman going in. I don't think so yet. I think it's still a little bit too soon. Maybe 5 years from now. Trust me, I could see Al Snow and Steve Blackman going in together. Head Cheese. That's a fucking funny name, man. Because when I used to work at my dad's deli, Slice and Head Cheese, I swear to God, I thought a requirement for buying head cheese is that you had to be over 75 years old. I honestly, in all the years I worked for my dad's deli, I don't ever recall somebody under the age of 75 ever buying head cheese. I never, ever remember anybody ever saying, give me head cheese on a roll with mustard. If you don't know what head cheese is, Google it. It's as bad as it looks. I tasted it once on a dare. It's like all different pieces of cold cut, like in jelly, like in a gel. It's disgusting. And for some reason, people used to buy it back in the day. Yeah, Batista's lost a lot. I heard Batista was on, he was on, not just intermittent fasting. He was on the, what's the meat-only diet? Not keto. I'm on keto. What's that meat-only diet? I couldn't do that meat-only diet. I can't remember. Brian Becerra, thank you for the 2024 carnivore. Yes, thank you, Michael. The carnivore diet. I heard Batista was on the carnivore diet. Thank you, Brian, for that. That's very, very kind of you, my friend. Happy 2024 to you, my friend. Thank you for that. He gets the New Day. And I hope we see Big E back. I hope we see, there you go. Yeah. We need to see him back on TV doing that with his chest. I want 2024 for Kira Tozawa to stop that thing. Please. It couldn't happen soon enough, please. I found myself the other day in I'm trying to think, do I have two props that look the same? Yeah, okay, yeah. I got a Don Tony Coke and a Don Tony Diet Coke. Like, I go like this. Could you imagine going home to Mrs. Wong? What did you do today? Oh, I got paid. Oh, how was your match? I didn't wrestle. What did you do? You really want to know? Yes, I want to see. What do you do? Oh, I do this. God bless Akira Tozawa. Seriously, when people criticize him or criticize Nikki Cross, I'm like, that's the greatest job to have. I show up for work. What do I have to do? Just stand there and act like you're drugged out. Okay, Nikki Cross. I wanted to see how long I could do it, but if you dare me, I could do that for a minute. I could probably do that for a minute. If you're Nikki Cross, honestly, every time I see somebody on social media write to Nikki Cross like, Nikki, I feel so bad for you right now. I wish they were doing more for you. I'm saying to myself, what are you talking about? She's getting paid full pay, and all she's just doing is standing there looking pretty, looking like she got drugged. I mean, it's horrible to say that, but that's like easy money, man. I mean, sure, it's probably closer to a release. Imagine being evaluated. TKO Group Holdings. Nicola, Miss Glenn Cross, come in the office. Let's look at your 2023. Let's look at the best of Miss Glenn Cross in 2023. Oh, we see you here. What is she doing? Like, what do you say to that? So that might do her in, though. Because this is not Vince. This is not the WWE brass. Like, when TKO Group Holdings reevaluates that and says, hey, Hunter, why are we paying Nikki Cross? What is she doing? Well, she's like, stalking people in the back. Where is this leading? I don't know. But she looks cute doing it. I think investors not going to go on a conference call and say, what the fuck are you wasting this money on Nikki Cross, though? But seriously, if I'm Tozawa and all I got to do is this, when you see Tozawa like that, though, even though he's cut up, like you would think that he'd be too big for 205, like he's too small for 205 Live. Like he looks like he could actually, put it this way, like if they did like a reincarnation of 21 Jump Street, I think Akira Tozawa could play off one of these detectives. Seriously, he could walk around high school and put on the bandana and work out in the gym. Like, oh, we got the football game tomorrow. I think Akira Tozawa could definitely get away with it. Be like a cast of 21 Jump Street. I think he was like in high school still. Listen, Tozawa is deceivingly built, man. Seriously, Tozawa, let me put it this way. If Tozawa gets released, you see Mustafa Ali lately? Holy shit. Mustafa Ali's biceps are bigger than my neck. And I'm not kidding. Mustafa Ali either went to somewhere, under the table and got some DNA. You remember that time when Devon showed up and Devon was so big, like only half his body would fit the screen? It's not on that level, but I guarantee you if Akira Tozawa gets released, Akira Tozawa, within the first couple of days, he's going to post a picture of himself on social media, all cut up and posing, and people are going to be like, holy shit. YouTube uploader says, Don Tony, it's back. What's back? What's back? I thought he was going to write, he's back. Some people think because Kevin and I are going back to shows that like asshole, derogatory, fucked up Don Tony get banned is returning. This is not an act. I talk about however I want to talk about stuff. If something gets me going, I'll rant on it. But, there's no act. When Kevin and I do these shows, there's no act, there's no script, there's no rehearsal, there's no pre-notes. It's just, hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? Oh, let's talk about Raw. Let's talk about, World's End. Let's get into a couple of tidbits of SmackDown and we'll call it a night. That's exactly what Kevin and I used to do. Literally half hour before the show, What do you want to talk about tonight? Oh, well, I came up with this. All right, cool. Talk to you at 11. That's all the prep that we would do. All right. 3 minutes and we're going to jet. Tristan, Happy New Year, my friend. Personal opinion, do I think Bill Goldberg deserves a retirement match in WWE or AEW? He deserves a retirement match. He will definitely get a retirement match. I think it could happen in Saudi Arabia. I don't think it should happen in AEW. Bill Goldberg has no history in AEW. A lot of AEW fans do not like Bill Goldberg. If Bill Goldberg worked out a deal with Tony Khan, they would suddenly fall in love with Bill Goldberg. But Bill Goldberg deserves a retirement match on the biggest stage of them all, which is WWE, and it could happen in Saudi Arabia, or it could happen WrestleMania 41. We talked about this yesterday. Bill Goldberg is not going to suddenly turn into Will Ferrell or Chris Farley in 1 year. If Triple H says to Bill Goldberg, look, you're going to get your retirement match at WrestleMania 41. We got a year to get it together. I think it'll happen. Bill Goldberg will get a retirement match in the WWE. Period. And guess what? You say Logan Paul, I actually think it could be against an Austin Theory. It could also be a Logan Paul. Could absolutely. It doesn't necessarily have to be a major, Hall of Famer or big time player. I think Goldberg squashing someone. Put it this way. If Goldberg is going to have his last match, do you want Goldberg wrestling 5-10 minutes? Or do you want slam, spear, jackhammer, done? You know what I mean? Like, that's what he should do. And you choose Dominic Mysterio. I would have no problem if Bill Goldberg's retirement match was Dominic Mysterio, 90 seconds, done. I think Randy Orton versus John Cena, career versus career, could be coming in the next couple of years. I think that very well could be coming. I don't know when, but I think that could be coming. Am I going to watch TNA Hard to Kill? I am going to watch it. I want to see what the surprise is. I may not watch it live, but I definitely will watch it. Look, TNA's put on some decent stuff in the last 3 to 6 months, but unfortunately it's not, the names that really like make your decision a little harder on a Thursday. Like, I will catch things after the fact, but I will be watching it. Does Paul Heyman retire after WrestleMania 40? No, I don't think so. Paul Heyman has found a newfound love for wrestling, and he's getting paid well, and he still is great at what he does. And Paul Heyman, I think, would love to possibly do something down the line with a Braun Breaker, or maybe reunite with CM Punk, or maybe with Brock Lesnar. Personally, I think Paul Heyman should retire when Brock Lesnar retires. I like to see them both retire together. In fact, I would not be, I don't think, believe it or not, I'm not guaranteed that Roman Reigns would induct Paul Heyman in the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm not saying it'll be Brock Lesnar, but I'm not sold that Roman Reigns would be the one doing it. So, all right, one more question, and let's jet. We're going to be back tomorrow, guys. We're going to talk about day one tomorrow. We'll see what happens with Seth and Drew, which is really, really going to be interesting. We'll see the CM Punk factor. We'll see who makes their return. Gunther, if he returns after, him and Ginny having their first child. CM Punk to induct Paul Heyman. The only reason why I say no is because Paul Heyman is still technically a heel. I wonder if it would be an ECW guy. Maybe a Tommy Dreamer comes in. I know Tommy Dreamer wants to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't think so yet, but I'm not sold that it's CM Punk either. Rob Van Dam is not a bad choice to induct Paul. That's not a bad idea. And Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman don't have the relationship they used to. I think people need to remember that. When am I going to do a 24-hour live stream? When we do it for charity. When I get a cause that is really worth for charity, and I want to put myself through that stress, then I will do that. So it's definitely something I've thought about. I've definitely thought about doing a marathon, but, that's something you really got to prepare for. I mean, you can get up and use the bathroom and go get a drink or something, but, it's not easy even doing 3 hours. My ass is numb right now. If you see, I'll go like this a little bit, and that's more like to give my ass a little bit of like movement. So like get the blood circulating. But if I got challenged, I would do it for 24 hours. If there was a charity and we could get some serious, donations going, if it was for a wrestler or something, I would consider doing it. 24 hours is a lot, but I would go as long as I could. All right, I'm in a jet. We've been here 2.5 hours. We are officially in 2024. I will be back here less than 24 hours because we have the post-Raw show. Day 1 will be going down, and it's going to be a very interesting week in the WWE. Remember, they have a week long of events. We got WWE Day 1. We have NXT New Year's Evil. We got the something with the bump, the best of this week. Then you got New Year's Revolution on Friday, SmackDown. They're planning on giving us a loaded week of WWE. So there's going to be some big things to go down on Monday night, and we will definitely talk about it. That might be pretty much all we talk about tomorrow, unless something else comes out with AEW or Jericho or some other news. But for the most part, I think that'll be the primary topic of conversation tomorrow. And to be honest with you, I think that's all that's needed. Yesterday, we did about 2 hours of a spectacular show. Today, 2.5 hours of fun discussion. Tomorrow, a little recap. So tomorrow, we'll probably give everybody a little bit of a break. But don't forget, I say it one more time in closing, January 29th, 2024, yours truly and Kev Castle will be back live on Monday nights. More details to come over this week. I will update the member section here to let everybody know what is going to be changing, what is going to be added to the memberships, and then we'll get Discord set up pretty much by the end of the week, and then we'll start adding everybody to Discord. This way, by the time the 29th comes, everybody will be ready, and then you just show up, hit a button, and you're live. So, my friends, Happy New Year once again. I want to thank each and every one of you for sticking with me. Whether you are new to what I do or you've been around since the 90s. If you would have told me back in 1997 that 5 years later you'd still be doing a hotline, I would have been like, man, I would have had a pretty boring 5 years if I'm still doing a hotline. Would you ever think that the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s, we're somehow fitting this in with our lives? It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. It's special. And the one thing I want to tell you, most important before I go out here, I want you to know this and always remember this. I'm never out to hurt anybody else out there with shows, and I'm not looking to take anybody's business away from them. I do what I do, and for some reason, some of you like it, and that's special. But I want you to realize that, when I post that little catchphrase that I am the longest running wrestling podcast in history, I promise you, I swear to you on my family, I do not still do this so I could hold my title. I don't do this still so I could make that claim. I do this because I still love wrestling. I still find it interesting. I love trying to think outside the box, try to figure out what the pros are doing, try to be one step ahead, try to sometimes come up with better ideas that they come up with, try to have scenarios that they should go but don't. sometimes scenarios that they should go and they do go. And I try to have it in a very, very real way. I hate lying. I'm not good at it. I hate clickbaiting. I hate looking at you. I know I don't see you right now, but I could see through the lens. I don't like looking at you and telling you with a straight face a story that I know is not true, a story that I know is incomplete, a story that I'm only bringing up because it emotionally charges you. You know, it's not my style. It's never been my style. Since 1997, I had this goofy phrase, I don't want to be first, I want to be right. And I still stick with that. Kev sticks with that. And I think that's why Kev and I work so good together. You know, we had a few years, several years apart, you know, for various reasons. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is the right time to come together and show everyone what we do. And for those that never heard us live and in real time, you know, hopefully you get to witness something a little special. But we do this because we enjoy wrestling still. And the fact that you tune in, I feel it would be absolutely disrespectful for me to sit here and not give you, you know, my best. And I can honestly say in 27 years doing this, maybe 5 times in 27 years did I turn the microphone off or turn a video off and say to myself, man, that was a good fucking episode. Like, a lot of laughs over the years. You know, I go back to the old Minority Report days and I laughed my ass off at some of this shit. Even today, Kev talking about the Ahmed Johnson shoot interview, and we were laughing, asking if it was subtitled and just having fun with it. But still, even those episodes, very, very rare do I ever turn it off and say, that was a good episode. I try to just give you straight up what I know, what I think I know, and, you know, have discussions. And wherever they fall, they fall. But I always try to give you my best. And that'll never change. The day that changes is the day I stop. So I thank you all. I wish you all a happy new year. Much love. And it is officially January 1st, 2024. Let's see what the next 12 months have. And believe it or not, guys, I'm still getting those text messages. No joke. You should be very, very happy I turned that off. So much love. Happy New Year, everyone. See you all again very, very soon. Be well.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.